I'd like to talk about different ways to exit from an infinite loop. So why don't we begin by writing one. I'll go to add new file here under basic, and I'll just call this exit basic. Okay, so I got starting at line 10, I'm just going to pencil in a reminder here for a second. Go to line 20. Let's say I got b equals 0. And then let's print b. And then here I'm going to increment b in basic. That would be b equals b plus 1. That will add 1 to b and store it back in the original variable. We'll go to the final line and create a loop. Go to 30. Okay, and let's just run that real quick, shall we? There. And now it endlessly increments the value by 1 and prints it to the screen. So no, I could just hit escape on my PC, and that will exit the program, and then I'm free to hit run again and start all over. On your normal Commodore computer, there is a run stop key. You can hit and it'll stop, and then you hit it again, it'll resume. And if you want to restore the default, you can hold the run stop key and hit the restore key, I believe. Don't quote me on that item. I'm not using an actual hardware C64 here. So now let's say though that we have done some things such as change the color of the text. Poke 646. I'm going to change the text color to white. There. Now plug it along. Everything looks good. I'm going to hit escape. And now, see, the problem is, even though I exited the program, now it is system-wide color change in the text, you see. So let's rewrite this so we can fix that, shall we? So I'm going to, first thing I want to do on line 1, clear the screen. We all know how to do that. CHR dollar 147. Right. Okay. And then let me see. Now you recall when we did input, right? A value into a variable. However, if I use input inside of a loop, the loop will pause there and wait for the user to put in some input. Maybe not desirable inside of a game loop. We want the activity to continue, game to continue, and the user can input various values. So the way to do that is using get $. Okay. Now I'm going to do a little comparison. If $$ equals a specific value, CHR dollar, let's say, and I'm using Petsky codes here. So let's say the value for A would be 65, etc. But I'm going to make it 13 here, which would be the enter key. Okay, so if the user presses enter, then end of program. Let's see. It says get $$ here. We'll go to 20 here. I'm just going to REM that. Go to 20. That should loop it over and over. There, clears the screen, and now the program is looping, looping, looping. It's running endlessly, doing nothing. If I hit the Enter key, there you go. It exits back to basic. As I said before, I could also put a 65 in there, run the same thing. There. And now if I hit the A key, it exits back to basic. However, as I mentioned earlier, let's say, for instance, I had made some changes such as poke 646, 1. Let me run that. It's not printing anything, but I have changed the color of the text. So you see when I exit, now the text is all white, say, not necessarily desirable. Okay, let me go back here, change this to the Enter key. So let's see, another way around that would be to, I'm going to restore the defaults. Right. So instead of just abruptly ending the program here, let's see, okay, I'm going to say here, cut that, put that here. I'm going to say then go to line 50. Okay, so this will just continue looping until somebody hits the Enter key, then it will jump out of the loop to this line 50, and I'm going to call sys 65532. That should restore all of the defaults. Let's go ahead and run that. Okay, it's doing its thing. I'm going to hit the Enter key. There. So it's no longer white. We have restored all the defaults. So if you change the background color, the border color, the text color, whatever, now it resets all of that. So it's all back to normal again. Great. Let's do the same thing over here in assembly, shall we? I'm going to say exit.asm. All right, the usual drill. I'm going to say 2064. I'm not going to be using any memory, so I'll just start at the top. We will add our little cheat code there. First thing I want to do, clear the screen. That's jump to subroutine 58692. 58692. Great, that will clear the screen. Now I'm going to go into our game loop and let's run that get input subroutine, which is JSR 65508. That will look for input. Now we want to check the input, so that's a compare. Pound immediate mode 13. Compare if it's 13. If it is, we're going to branch out of there to end. Now, this is not the same as end in BASIC. I'm going to write a label called end. But if it doesn't branch out of there, just continue looping. Jump to loop. Okay, so it's there. I have my endless loop. Right. So now let's write this end routine here. End. Jump to end. And for the moment, I'm just going to say RTS, end of program. See if that actually does anything. Okay, program endlessly doing nothing. I hit enter and it exits back to basic. Lovely. Okay, so now let's create the problem I discussed earlier where let's go load a color value here, color 1, and then make that system-wide. 646. There. So now the text color is all white. Yes. Let's see what happens here. Text color has been assigned to white, and you can see that when I exit, no, it's all white now, baby. It's all white now. So we could fix just the text. I mean, I could just LDA. The default text color is 14. Say and go 646. Whoops. Store that in memory location 646, and that should restore the text color back to normal. There. So back to basics. All right. Or and then oh, another thing. Well, I'll come to the other thing. But the other possibility I discussed is to restore all defaults. And that is, let me see, jump to subroutine 65532. 65532. That should do the same thing as what we just did over in BASIC. There. Restore all defaults. So here, let me just give us something to look at so we can verify that this actually works. I'm just going to load a value into X 0 here, and then down here inside the loop, we will store X to the screen 1024, and then increment X. Okay, let's have a look at that. There, now something's happening. We have set the text color to white, and we are endlessly cycling between all 256 color code, screen codes, Commodore 64 screen codes. Yeah. So now if I hit enter, there, you see it restored the defaults. Everything is not all white any longer. Another way, let me just do one more thing here for fun. So here, when I call end, I can do various things to clean up the code. Maybe I want to just add an extra carriage return. I can do that by going, sorry, load A with the return, the code for return, and then jump to subroutine 65490. 65490, which is the same as, whoops, would be the same as FFD2. But of course, that's $sign to indicate that that's hex. So you could use this value or that value, same result, 654. And the restore defaults, of course, would be $FFFC. There. Another way to do that, just for giggles here, instead of restoring the defaults, I could actually JSR 64738. 64738. That is a warm reboot. So that will actually reboot. The same thing as going reset, soft reset. There. So if I hit enter now, it'll wig out for a second and then completely reboot the system. There. So different ways of dealing with that. So this one in hex would be dollar FCE2. So you could use the hexadecimal value like this here. Same thing. Yeah. Okay, so that's various ways of dealing with getting out of a loop.